Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to teach you how to play Bull Run. Bull Run is a light card game and this is how it works. So, uh, in a game of Bull Run, there is a deck of 104 cards, numbered 1 to 104, all right? And each card has a certain number of bulls on it, and that tells you how many points that card is worth. So for example, you can see in my hand of cards over here, I have a bunch of cards. Most of them are worth 1 point because they have one bull. The 35 is worth 2 points, and I can see that there are some cards that are worth even more points. All right. At the start of the game, every player gets dealt 10 cards. So those are the 10 cards you see in my hand. And what's going to happen is at the center of the screen, you're going to see 4 rows of cards. Those are the 4 cards you see in the center. And we will be placing cards into one of these 4 rows and trying to take as few points as possible. So the objective of the game is to take as few points as possible. We all start with 0 points. That's the 0 number that's in the bottom right corner of everyone's box. And over the course of the game, we will be forced to take points, and whoever takes the fewest points wins the game. Okay? Now, on your turn, you will play a card, any card from your hand, and everyone is actually taking their turn at the same time. Once everyone takes their turn at the same time, everyone's cards are placed into one of the 4 rows, one by one, according to this process. So first off, let's say I submit a card, bot 1 submits a card, bot 2, bot 3, bot 4. Those cards will be placed into one of the 4 rows from the lowest card that was played to the highest card that was played. And the card is placed in the row where the card is higher than and closest to the last card in that row. So let me give you a few examples of this. Let's imagine that I play the 26, okay? The 26 is higher than the 22, but it's not higher than any of these numbers, right? So we're looking at the last card in every single row. So the 26 is higher than the 22 and closest to the 22. So if I played the 26, it would go in this row right next to the 22. Let's imagine that I played the 57. The 57 is higher than the 22 and it's higher than the 45, but it's closer to the 45. So if I played the 57, it would actually go in the second row next to the 57. Okay, so higher than and closest to. Now keep in mind, everyone else is also playing cards, and their cards are being played one by one from the lowest card played to the highest card played. So what's going to happen is you will play a card thinking, oh, it's going to end up in one of these rows, but people may play cards before you, which will change the last card in every row, which may affect where your card actually ends up going. In Bull Run, there are 2 ways to take points. And remember, points are bad. You don't want points. The first way to take a point is every row can only have a maximum of 5 cards. If you ever accidentally place the 6th card in a row, you take the first 5 cards as points. So you add up the points. Remember, the bulls on each card tells you how many points the card is worth. So you add up all the points for those 5 cards, and then that gets added to your point total, and then the card you played, which was the 6th card in the row, moves to the front and becomes the new first card in that row. That's the first way to take points. The second way to take points is if you play a card that is lower than the last card in every row, then you have to choose a row. You will take all the points in that row, and the card you played becomes the new first card in that row. That was a lot of talking. We're going to show some examples of this happening, all right? So let's play the game. Let's play through a few rounds, and you can see exactly what I mean. So I'm thinking I'm going to play the 26. 26 is higher than 22, so it should end up in this row, and let's see what happens.
Moo, I'm a cow.
Bot 2 played the 8. The 8 is lower than the last card in every row, so bot 2 took this row, and the 8 became the new first card there. Then the 19, now my 26 goes in the first row. Now the 50 will go after the 45 over here, and the 100 will go after the 74. Great. So let's pause for a second. So we all played a card. Those cards were flipped over one by one. They ended up in one of the 4 rows. The very first card played was the 8, which was lower than the last card in every row. So bot 2 chose a row, took all the points in that row, and that's why they now have 1 point. And remember, points are bad. Okay? Let's play a little bit more. So I am going to play the 35 over here.
Moo, I'm a cow.
The 6 is lower than the last card in every row, so bot 4 has to choose a row and take all the points in that row. Here we have the 20. Alright, my 35. The 70 will go after the 50. And the 97 will go after the 70. Okay, so far so good. What I want to show you is an example of someone being forced to take a row because they placed the 6th card in a row. So let's see if we can orchestrate that. It might be difficult, but maybe the bots will be accommodating here.
Moo, I'm a cow.
Alright, bot 1 played a 4. And they have to take one of the 4 rows. Okay, so they took the last row. Alright, so the 96 there takes the first row. Okay, so let's just recap what happened there. The 96, remember, the 96 was not higher than the 97. It was higher than the last card in the first row. Okay, it was closest to that one. So it became the 6th card in that row, which means the first 5 cards in that row, bot 3 took as points, and then the card they placed, which was the 96, moves to the front, and it becomes the first card, right? So bot 3 took a ton of points there, right? So that's the premise of the game. Everyone plays a card at the same time. It ends up in one of the 4 rows. People take points in one of the 2 situations, and you keep playing till everyone runs out of cards, right? Which will happen at the same time after 10 turns. You can choose to end the game in 2 ways. When you're done playing all your 10 cards, Ludio will ask you, do you want to keep playing the game? If you say no, the game will end, and the players who have the fewest points win the game. If you say yes, you'll keep playing, you'll get another 10 cards, you'll play another round of 10, and so on and so forth. As soon as someone gets 66 points or more, the game automatically ends. You still have to play through all the 10 cards, so even if someone hits 66 before the round is over, you still finish the round of 10 cards. Whenever someone hits 66 or more points, the game ends, and whoever has the fewest points wins the game, right? So that's how you play Bull Run. The feeling of the game is a little bit like gambling for parking spots. You don't have as much control as you would like to, but you have some idea of what cards people have and where your card is going to end up. And there's a lot of dramatic tension when you thought you were going to have to take a row, but someone else takes it before you, and you breathe a sigh of relief, and they cry in anguish, okay? So it's a little bit like gambling for parking spots. I really like it. It's one of my favorite games on Ludio, and we hope you have fun with it. Thanks so much.